Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today, August the 28th, Friday, 2026. So, looking back on yesterday, we took a trade, and I'm just going to pull it up here. We didn't take the trade. We actually, if we were to take the trade, we'd still be holding this trade here. I wanted to lock it in just to show where we are. So this would have been our first entry here. Glad it hit our TP. Our second entry here, and it's still holding above that. Got a lot of consolidation, but we're moving up. Our target was this buy side liquidity here. I like to see us hit that area today for a reversal. Looking for that reversal because overall, once we hit that area, that's this area here. That's that's a daily bearish fair value gap. So I'm looking to tap into that area. We're above gamma using our GEX levels. We're above gamma flip, which indicates more smoother price action, but more of a mean reversion type market play. Meaning, the farther we get away from our VWAP and the average price, that price will want to tend to revert back to that average price. So if we hit this area, we sweep this interior liquidity on the daily and tap into that fair value gap, that'd be a high probability trade for reversal. I was hoping we get into it yesterday. We can't get today. We're only 100 points away, which we could very well see that at the open. We've already swept our 8 a.m. highs. So we're getting into tapping into those key levels. Our New York midnight open, which we hit already. We tapped into a higher time frame PD array, our 15-minute fair value gap. We have our prior day highs and Asia high as also prime targets. Other than that, we also have that interior liquidity area. Be as it may, depending on how we react at the open, if we get some structure building to the upside, we could look for a continuation trade to the upside, being as though we've already swept our 8 a.m. highs, tapped our New York midnight open, and we've tapped into our 15-minute fair value gap. If we end up inversing this 15-minute fair value gap, we then be looking for that continuation play. This is the gap I'd be looking for to inverse. And then we could look for between here and that area there, which is about 67.70 points, which is a good trade. I'd rather caution on the side of error and give up a few points than to front run it and be on the wrong side of the play. We are looking bullish. We are above VWAP. So being as though we're above VWAP and we're above that gamma flip GEX level, the farther it gets away from VWAP, the more so it wants to revert back to that average price. You see a lot of movement in here in this area here. So that's where it wants to revert back into. So if we sweep these highs, prior day highs, and maybe tap into this area, this daily bearish fair value gap, I'd say a high probability for a reversal play back down at least to VWAP, if not those 8 a.m. lows and London low and this put wall that we have down there. So we have some draws on liquidity on the lower end. We also have higher time frame PD arrays. We have a 4-hour fair value gap. We have our prior day lows. And we also have area of interest where we were earlier in the week, our new week opening gap, and so on and so forth. So we'll see. We'll see what the opening brings us. We got about 15 minutes, a little less than 15 minutes before the open. Seeing some good price action so far. I took a little warm up, play. pre-market because I seen that we inversed this 15-minute bearish fair value gap here, came back, went really far down, but it came back and it did not close within this this area. So be as it may, as we inversed that 15-minute, when it came back down here, I started to see here on the 1 minute, you can see it started to come down and inverse this 1 minute gap. So when I seen it inverse this 1 minute gap, that's when I took a short. I got in here, took this short, and got out here. It was only for about, only for 2 micros. Made about $11. I went in for 2 micros because, as I mentioned before, we are looking at maybe tapping into this interior liquidity. It's Friday. Typically, investors want to secure their funds. They don't want to leave trades open over the weekend. So there'll be a lot of selling off on Friday. Capital preservation Friday. That's what we call it, capital preservation Friday. So as it started to inverse this 1 minute, you see it started to hold up here at this where it broke these London highs here. It started here. So as we started to experience some hesitation here, that's when I was like, and I just took the profits and took off there. So you can see we're starting to push down a little bit here as we get closer to the open. So we may see price go down here. We have a 15-minute bullish order block here. So I'm expecting if we do go down at the open, maybe we sweep this area of liquidity here where I have marked with this red circle into this order block. Could go deep into this order block. It would be nice if we go into this order block and maybe just sweep those lows, and even tap that 15-minute fair value gap and then continue up for the day. That would be ideal. If, like I said, if we go down first. However, in my experience, I believe we may experience a spike at the open, sweep these highs, tap into this daily interior liquidity, into that bearish fair value gap, and head lower for the day on Friday. So that's my analysis, based on what I know, what I see. But anything could happen. And we are prepared for it in both cases. So if it goes down, we're prepared to look for longs on the way back up. If we go up, we're prepared to get into a continuation play. And depending on how long it takes to get to this area of reversal, maybe even some shorts. So we'll see. We may see a short spike down and then continue up, maybe halfway in between here. This was yesterday's settlement price, so it won't be much of a new day opening gap when we open, I suspect. But we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. We have a 5-minute gap here. So let's see. This is a 5-minute gap on the way up there. So if we inverse this gap here down, we could get into a situation where we, depending on how we go, if we see just straight candles down, we're not getting into any shorts. We'll wait for that sweep. If we see like a drawdown and some structure down inversing this 5-minute, and we'll look at maybe getting into some shorts before we hit that 8 a.m. low. So being as though we already swept these 8 a.m. highs, and that's the case. But in any, I want to wait until we get this influx of volume at the open because it could shoot straight back up and then go down. So even if we do go down and go for these lows, being as though we've already hit these highs, I want to wait until we inverse this 5-minute and then start to entertain getting into some shorts. We shall see. Either way, we have it's about a 20-point play. 40 points to the downside. Still a good good trade. Scalp. It's more of a scalp day. Not looking to hold any trades too long here. I want to put my moving averages there. I kind of feel naked without them. See, it keep bouncing off that 20 moving average in between that 8 and that 20. If we get below VWAP and this 200, we're starting to see some lower prices, which we may see. We may see a drop at the open. All right. I was just texting my sister-in-law. She called a good trade at the open at 8:30. That 8:30 move was a nice move to the upside. Yeah, at 8:30, if you got that bottom tick, you get that move to the upside. So we're starting to see a drop down here pre-market. Let's see if we can inverse this 5-minute. If it doesn't leave without us, we may see that sweep of the low first and a continuation to the upside. Let's see. Let's see. So it looks like we won't know until actually the at the open. If we were gonna jump in, we could have got in there, but see how that candle left down. But that tells me this is a manipulation leg that we're experiencing. We're gonna probably hit into this area, sweep this interior liquidity, hopefully sweep these lows. It doesn't leave us hanging, and then we'll look for an inversion of a lower time frame to confirm some more upward, some higher prices. So let's look at the hourly chart and see. Yeah, so if we get here and we sweep these lows, this is an area of resistance that's been, for some time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so for some time during overnight, this has been a major area of resistance here. So if we go down and sweep this area, maybe even sweep these lows here, we would have for some time built up some liquidity here. These are engineered equal lows here. So these engineered equal lows is building up liquidity. These are institutional players building liquidity. These are all longs that have been taken under these wicks or stop losses. They're triggers. Lots of liquidity here. So all this liquidity, these are hourly candles. So all this liquidity built up here. If we go down and sweep these overnight lows, still above our gamma flip on the GEX levels, and see a rejection around this area and start to inverse on the lower time frame, I'd be willing to jump into some longs and aim for our draw on liquidity here for the AM session, because you can always start to sell off on the PM session. But for the AM session, I think what will happen is we'll go down here and sweep this liquidity. Longs are still feeling good now. See how prices stopped here mid level. So let's see. We are gapping down. This is our settlement from yesterday. So it's still hanging around there. I like to see more of a gap. That's another draw. So we're looking bullish as it may. So I'm looking for a dip at the open. Now that we've seen some more price action, maybe look at a dip at the open and try to get in. That was a nice dip pre-market. I want to see what happens at market open. And we got about 30 seconds left. And let's see where we go. Here we go now. We still haven't inversed this 5 minute. About 12 seconds left on that candle. Will we inverse that 5 minute? Yes, we may. Looks like we're dropping straight down at the open. And there we go. Starting to hold up into this 15 minute order block. It's also a 5 minute order block. Come down, sweep these 8 a.m. lows. We're sweeping these lows. We did inverse that 5 minute. We could have front run it and go, but we're starting to see some rejection here. Here on the 1 minute, you see that nice bottom wick there, tapped into that 8 a.m. low, just barely wick below 8 a.m. Swept some of that liquidity. Maybe still be trying to manipulate here. I'd still like to see it get just a little bit lower here. Still have lots of liquidity. This may not be the time to jump in. I'd want to see some inversion before we get in. We have a 5 minute that was left on the way down here. May not have to wait to get that high. So there we go. Deeper. There's that deeper pull into that pullback. Jumping into London lows. Those overnight lows there. Here we are tapping into that 15 minute fair value gap. We also have a 1 hour in there as well, I believe. Did we have a 1 hour? It's a 15 minute. So we got that 15 minute. Let's see. Let's check this 1 hour here. You got a top wick on that 1 hour. About 20 minutes. As we approach that put wall, we're getting farther away from that VWAP. So we swept liquidity down here, tapped into that 15 minute fair value gap. Starting to see a push up here on the 1 minute. If we create a gap here, I'd like to see we get an inversion of this gap here. We could jab it. Yeah, we're starting to push up here. Maybe want to see an inversion. This would be our, I guess this would be our first presented. I'm starting to see a lot of rejection, resistance here on this first presented fair value gap. We're gonna hold and be patient here. This is a nice area of interest, being as though we're seeing some rejection here. This was a nice area of liquidity here. This fair value gap, we're seeing it start to respect with this wick. If we don't close inside this 15-minute fair value gap, if we close above consummate encroachment, that would be a good indication. If we invert this first presented fair value gap, we'll go ahead and take a jab. Maybe we'll start off with 2 micros and then add as we continue up. We got less than 30 seconds left before the close of this 1-minute candle. So looks like we're looking good on the reversal to the upside. I like to see a body close above here before getting into anything. Looks like we should be getting into it. Don't want to front run it. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Maybe if we get a small little, we'll jump in there. So let's see. Gap fill 647. So if we get down here, I may look to add. Into this. Coming back down to retest this area. Let's see the close of this candle. If we close too far below it, I will jump out. It looks like we're respecting that candle. We'll add into that. We should start to see that push to the upside. We got in, added in, so I'm looking to get into. We'll take profit here at gap fill, pull our stop loss up and let it go. See if we hit 664. We're starting to push up there. It's looking good, looking good. Let's get up and take our first take profit. Then we'll pull our stop loss up. Got up to our first take profit. Let's pull our stop loss up here. fact, my stop loss is a little too high there. So we're coming back to retest that area. We're going to close out that trade. I don't like that pullback. So we closed out there. We're up about 236 right now. I didn't like that pullback. I'll look for a re-entry here. If we inverse this 1 minute here, we look for a re-entry. $647. So we actually hit gap fill. That's why I got out of that trade. If we go up, we got about 20 seconds. We inverse this 1 minute here. Let's see, we got a 5 minute above there. So let's inverse this 1 minute. About 2 seconds left. We inverse that 1 minute. There we go. Starting to see a little pullback there. Back at the gap fill. Let's see if after this pullback and a retest, I'd like to see an inversion of that 5 minute. So you got about 40 seconds left. An inversion of that 5 minute. It's getting kind of high up there. She got that New York open. Now pull back. Got about 20 seconds left. So I want to see a closure above this 5 minute here. We got in down here. We pulled our trade here at gap fill. That was good. We got in at 2, added another 2. So we got about 6 seconds left here. So we inverse the 5 minute. I want to jump in here. Just looking at, see if we'll get a little bit of a pullback or no. We got in there, and we'll scalp that at another $125. So this is a good scalp day. We're above gamma. So it looks like we may be pushing up to our area here. Good volatility going up to the upside there. So I will buy dips. We are a green light for longs. I'm scalping in and out. Bought here twice. Got out here. Bought here once. Got out here. So on the next pullback, I will be scalping until we get to our draw on liquidity here. So we are about 11 minutes into the open, and we are already up $358. Not bad. Not bad at all. Theoretically, we could have held this trade for more profit. This is a scalp day for me. I like to protect profit, see money, take money on Fridays. You gotta err with caution because the commission fees will eat you up if you're trading a live account. But long as the cost of money is worth your profits, it doesn't matter. Meaning, as long as your profits outweighs the cost of the money, then that's an investing 101. You never shy away from the cost of money. So we're pulling back just a little here. Want to see kind of a deeper pullback before I jump back into something. That's a nice 1 minute candle there. Pulling back, maybe if we retest these highs here. Retest these highs. Getting into a 1 minute gap that was left behind here. See how far it goes. Respecting consummate encroachment, that middle line there. This is that type of nice structured price action we like to see. You don't want to see big candles back to back, going straight up. That's not supportive. Eventually, you'll see a pullback. So we had this one big candle. That's why we're seeing this pullback now, respecting this area here. Looking at those prior day highs at the 708. It looks like we'll hit 708. Continuing to see just a little bit of a pullback there. See a pullback, pulling back into this area. May see it even pulling me down into this 1 minute zone. This is another liquidity pocket here. You see these long wicks where a lot of people went long here, put their stop loss. That's a liquidity pocket. If we get down into this unmitigated area, this zone here, I'd like to see. It looks better on the 5 minute. So we have a nice bullish order block created here on the 5 minute. That's why we're scalping. We see this here. You got to be patient in this market here. So this is a nice bullish order block here that we see. I'd like to see us maybe pull down into this area, to this zone. If we pull down into this zone where basically around what yesterday's settlement price was, see how we're creating this liquidity here with those long wicks. We're starting to create liquidity there. I like to see this area here swept. This where this little blue arrow is. If we get down into here and then start to see some more push to the upside, I'd be more interested in getting back into some longs. We're starting to approach that 950 macro. So we're starting to get down into that area. It's a nice pullback there. Still seeing some pullback there as we get into this 950 macro. We have about 4 minutes until we get into this 950 macros. See a little bit of a pullback there. We are into this 1 minute inefficiency here. I want to get this. You'll have to excuse my charts. It gets a little messy when we're trading. These are the charts I mark up on. So we have a gap that was left on the way up there. So we'll get rid of this. We swept London there. Swept our 8 a.m. highs, our New York midnight open. We still respecting this gap that was left behind here. Approaching this zone, this area here. So we may even see on this 5 minute, we may see this 5 minute candle leave a wick on the bottom here. and this next 5-minute candle come down and sweep this area of liquidity, tapping into this 5-minute order block. So let's move this over here. This is our new area of interest here on this 5-minute order block here. So I'm looking for maybe just one more little sweep of these lows before it continues all the way out. 759. So it's pushing up higher. So let's see at the close of this 5-minute candle if we get one more sweep to the bottom here. I'll mark this little area here, sweeping this little red circle here. If we sweep this little red circle here, tap into this 5-minute fair value gap, reject, staying above constant encroachment, we'd get into that long, maybe back up into these highs here. So let's see. We got about 16 seconds left. See that push down, trapping those longs. So it trapped those longs, swept that liquidity there already. Got in there. That's that new 5-minute coming in. See if we get down a constant encroachment of this 5-minute fair value gap. We're tapping into this this bullish order block. Let's see if we tap into this bullish order block here, then start to see some reversal to the upside. We barely closed below this 1 minute here, so we may see here on the 5-minute it want to push a little bit lower, but let's see. We'll get rid of this gap. We created a gap here on the way down on this 1 minute. I'd like to maybe see that inverse before we go to the higher, before we get any higher. See, we're playing it safe here. There was a couple little areas where we could have jumped in for longs, jumping in on the momentum, but we're waiting. We're staying. We are go for longs, being as though if we entered where we entered down here, we're still on, but we're starting to see that pullback now. This is our first presented. So ICT traders, this is why we did not get into longs as of this second entry. Even though we inverse, even though we had a bullish fair value gap on the 1 minute here going up. So we wanted to see what price was going to do. It actually inversed that gap here just by a little bit. So if I draw a line at the bottom of this gap, This is the bottom of that gap there. You can see where we inversed here, the body below there, and it's starting to continue lower. We're experiencing a pullback. This is good. This is why this is a scalp day for me. This is why we bought down here. We got here, got out here, got in here, got out here. Now we're looking for the pullback. I'm looking for the longs. I don't think this is a reversal. I just think this is a pullback. Once we get up into our draw and liquidity, we hit buy side, then I'd be looking for the reversal. As of now, this is just for me a pullback, a healthy pullback that I'd like to see if we're going to continue higher. So if we pull out our premium discount tool here, this is the leg that we're in. Starting to see it pull back down into our OTE area, our 062, 079, that golden Fibonacci zone. Once we get down into there and start to see a rejection, that's when we start to get into some longs. We broke 50% down into the discount, and as soon as we hit discount, we start to see higher prices. So let's see if we can now start to inverse some lower time frame inefficiencies, which we don't have many going on. This is our first one here on the 1 minute. So this is a 1 minute inefficiency here that we have. It's kind of high up on the mark. So we're looking at our premium discount tool. We're staying above 50% here. We could jab along maybe with a small micro just to get good entry point. However, we could be experiencing this these two up close candles be considered a bearish order block. So if we get into here, we tap this 1 minute, and this will be a liquidity pocket here, I like to call. Sweep this little red circle there, and then start to see rejection down. We could see a new low, which would get us closer to that put wall. So we're rejecting off this 5 minute. This 5 minute was created on the way up there. This is a new 5 minute candle, but if we create a gap here, that would be the 5 minute inefficiency that you want to see inversed on the way up. If we create a gap here between the low of this one and the high of this one here. So we're at 9:30 open here. So I don't want to front run, but this would be an area that we don't want to see price go past too much further down. Maybe just a few ticks down into that 618. If 618 holds up, we'd be looking good. It's holding up right here at the 200 simple moving average. We see a lot of rejection here. Start to inverse. I'll get rid of this. So we got 4 minutes until those Michigan numbers come out. That could give us what we need to see a push to the upside. Have a wick here. Let's see if we get above constant encroachment of this wick to give us some confluence to see how strong we're looking. See a body and a hold above constant encroachment. Right now this wick is kind of holding us down. So we don't want to fall below this opening price here. That's what we don't want to see. So let's see what we are so far. So this morning looking pretty good. Just remaining patient, starting to see if these if our bullish sentiment will hold up. Starting to see that push. Really want to see an inversion of this 1 minute. I want to see what type of reaction. We are getting into this area here. Once we sweep, let's see where we go once we get past this area here. See how we get that rejection. See that rejection we got there? Man, if we would have got in there, it would have smoked us. Now we go up. Yeah, we got into that area there. Didn't even get to sweep that area. Now we're pushing up. Got into a long there. Just want to see if we can touch those highs. See if we can get our push, 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 push. There we go. Hit TP there. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. PDI, prior day highs. That's what I'm talking about. Those Michigan numbers came out. You see it kind of gave us a sweep to the downside. We held above our 930 open. Held above 930 open. It swept down below, but held above 930 open, not closing below. Wicks will do the damage. Bodies will tell the story. And I'll see how price is coming down now. That's why we're scalping, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're not holding these trades. I see some traders, and it pains me to see what they do. So some traders will get in here, and they hold their, and they have their TP, say TPs here. So let's just mark it out. So they get in here. ADM lows are swept. They get in here. Boom. Get in here. They do a. Let's see. They do a. Say their TP is their buy side. They come here. Stop loss is here. So they'll sit here. They'll come up. They're in profit. And they broke these highs, so maybe they'll come up and bring their stop loss here. Now they're at break even. But they won't take, maybe they take off, if smart ones will take profit here. They'll take some profit here, bring their stop loss up, secure a little bit of profit. But then they'll watch their trade go all the way down. And in this case, it may not have hit break even, but they'll watch their P&L. They'll see this area of resistance and just hold it, because it didn't hit TP. And their motto is either stop loss or TP. And you see a lot of traders like that. They have a lot of break-even trades, uh, a lot of losses, and not because they're bad traders, just because they have this rigid stance of TP or stop loss. I'm more fluid in my trading, so if especially with evals and prop firm accounts, sometimes they have those trailing drawdowns. So if your drawdown increases with profit, so if I'm up $1,000, I have a 50K account. My max drawdown is no longer 48,000. My max drawdown is now 49,000 because I made $1,000 profit. If I make $2,000 profit, my max drawdown is no longer 49,000. My max drawdown is 50,000. So even though it's a $50,000 account, if I made 2,000 and I lose 2,000, I blew the account. But in all actuality, I didn't lose any money. But that's the difference between prop trading and live trading. So you have to be aware of that. So for me, Friday's a scalp day. Capital preservation. I think we got what we wanted out of this AM session. We may see price go up to our buy side. We may not. Either way, I believe there's going to be a lot of whipsawing back and forth. So for us today, we got in a few trades. You see our execution marks. We got in, added, got in, got out, got in, got out. So we got 1, 2, actually 3 trades today. This was a trade. We started off with 2 micros, added another 2, got out. 5 micros, got out. 5 micros, got out. For a total of $563.50. And that adds to our $700 plus day we had yesterday. Not bad for end of the week. So I will take this and run. I will not play with the market. I do not want no trouble. Don't want no smoke with the NASDAQ. I only trade the NASDAQ because it's a U.S. indice. It tends to have a lot of volatility, and I believe in becoming the master of one thing. And for me, that thing is NASDAQ. I've traded other assets. I've traded gold. I've traded oil. I've traded ES. And I used to trade between all of them. But one thing I've learned is that they all move differently. Even though ES and the NASDAQ correlate together, kind of similar, they move differently. So I decided to just master the NASDAQ. Win, lose, or draw, I know how the NASDAQ is going to move. I can feel how once you get that feel, that's something you can't teach. That's something you can't learn. That's just something you gain from experience. So being as though I have experience with the NASDAQ, I have an intimate relationship with the way that it moves. I know that today would be a day to not get in and hold and turn a win into a loss, but to get in, take your profits, see how it reacts, get in, take your profits, see how it reacts. And that's how we move on the NASDAQ. So I feel good today. We stuck with our strategy. We had a plan. We had a plan, A plan and a B plan. If price was to go down, we had a plan. If price was to go up, we had a plan. At the open, we see that the market wanted to go down. We swept the highs pre-market, so it was natural for the market wanting to get to these lows. And as we swept these lows and tapped into our higher time frame inefficiencies, we tapped into our higher time frame, being the 15-minute, and you've seen that major rejection. That's when we started to play our entries. We got down onto the 1 minute and started to inverse some inefficiencies, and that's what marked our entries. So I felt good. We stuck to our plan. we were adherent to our strategy, and we came out on top. So that's what it's all about. So with that, I'll close for the day. This week, all week, we've got off early. Usually, I'll stay on stream to about 11:30 at the latest. Lately, this week we've been getting in these trades the first 20 minutes of the open and able to capitalize. So that's good. I feel good about that. I hope everyone was able to have the same experience, and I felt like we gained today. We learned. So that being said, thanks for checking me out. Thanks for joining me. I will see you guys probably not Monday. Monday we homeschool our kids, so Monday is the first day of homeschool. So I may not be here for that AM session. I'll try to get here for a PM session, maybe even Asia session. If not, I will definitely see everyone on Tuesday for the open, and we will start from zero, and that's how it is. So thanks again. I will see you guys next week, and have a safe and happy week.